Hi, I'm Justin.
Also, I hate the way my voice sounds, so if you can do whatever Photoshop does to voices, make me sound awesome.
And this is my lovely friend,
The beauty in the eyes of the beholder, and it's just about getting into the seat of being the beholder.
Hayley.
I don't think you have to be particularly perceptive. I just think you have to look up.
This podcast is mostly just her telling me stories.
If you expose yourself to the possibility that this might be really awkward, there can be something just really cool on the other side of it.
She thinks that her life and way of looking at things are
Oh, I was kind of waiting on you. I thought you were getting your stuff ready. You're waiting on me?
pretty normal.
You got to edit out all the misinformation about the Amish.
Maybe you can relate.
I would like a chance to re-sing the Amish Paradise.
If you want lighthearted stories
All right, you want to talk about goats?
and stream of consciousness,
I just woke up and needed some friends, and so I bought them.
then you're gonna like the Sunny Side Up podcast.
Sunny side up, sunny side up, sunny side up, sunny side up.
So, if you're at all like me, you may feel that you're living in a world that can be a bit overwhelming and confusing at times. I'm also a huge fan of podcasts, documentaries, docudramas, stories, and of just information in general. Between all of that and the social media and news, sometimes our brains can feel like they're on overload. Hayley and I hope that this podcast can be something of an antidote to all of that. Like little jello shots of joy and distraction. None of it is too serious or really too informative. Mostly it's just two friends who have conversational chemistry talking about whatever enters the minds of relatively ADHD people. We hope you enjoy.
The only other influence I've ever had that even came close, when Katie was little, she asked if I'd ever seen a porcupine, and I was like, I haven't, in real life. Mm-hmm. And she said, why not? I was like, ugh, I don't know. Our local zoos don't have any. And she said, why not? And I was like, I don't know. And she was like, well, find out. I'll see you this afternoon. And then she hops out of the car and goes to school. And I'm tasked with figuring out why our local zoos don't have porcupines. So I called and asked, and the zookeeper guy was actually like, I don't know. That would be an easy exhibit to kind of work in. It kind of fits with some of the things we currently have.
How do you handle a porcupine, though? With very, very thick gloves, I guess?
Cool. Yeah, that would probably be a good idea. And I don't know if it matters whether it's an African porcupine or an American porcupine. Because are the African porcupines, I know that their quills are in the back end, but is their front end spiny also? I'm not.
I would think so, because I've seen the National Geographic video where a young leopard who hasn't quite figured out the ways of the world yet tries to go for one. Wait a minute, maybe it did turn around and bat it with its tail. Oof.
I don't remember if their front has any projectiles or. But yeah, I asked the zoo guide. He's like, good question. And he was like, you know what? I'm going to make it happen. And we now have multiple porcupines at our local zoo.
What the heck?
I know.
What a legacy you're going to leave us with.
Oh, but it's like the quiet story in the midst of all this other going, nobody will ever know that we were there. We're the movers and shakers in the shadows.
I know. Okay, but I think, again, on your faded bronze statue with pigeon poop on it, that's got to be also on there. She not only brought us the campfire s'mores, Girl Scout cookies. Discontinued because only 3 people ever ate them. But she also
had a
brought
vague
3
influence.
belligerent porcupines to the...
Had a vague influence over a couple of zoo animals.
I love that, though. I in all seriousness, that is fun to think, because it's so easy to look at, and of course there are some things that are very difficult to make any difference in or change, right?
Yes.
Politics, whatever it is, if you're thinking at a really high level. But I love that you've been able, honestly, Keebler, though, that's kind of a big deal.
It felt like a big deal.
Yeah, a small town zoo, a suggestion, while it's incredibly impressive, that one feels like if between the two of them you're which one's possible, I'm going to go with the porcupines only because whatever. I just think it's one smaller town zoo. Keebler is an international company that you somehow got them to bend to your will.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
and come up with an entirely new, which makes me think I need to figure out who's in product development at various companies and be like, hey, I had this idea about, and then submit your pizza recipe idea to.
Well, and you could build a resume of like, listen,
suggestions.
Take me seriously. I've gotten porcupines in zoos, and I'm responsible for the discontinued and utter fail of
twice discontinued s'more cookies.
S'more cookies. And I keep convincing Keebler to bring it back. No, I love it. I would read that resume and be like, hey, she knows what she's talking about. Like, so what's the next like campfire cookie idea from you? Like what's the next thing that's brewing in your mind?
I mean, that was the last addiction that I had. I haven't had a compulsion to eat any other cookies since then. So we had porcupines and we had, I mean, that you've got range. Yeah, like in general.
Yeah.
I don't know. Our successes have been on a smaller scale, not so lately, not so much like inventive or
and
having
let's
to
not
create.
forget, by the way, let's not just like totally gloss over the fact that for people who are, struggling with housing, that there may come this like special ID that gets made because you pulled on a connection.
Yes, for the few students, and that's still in development.
These are legacy things, though.
But yeah, that's still in development, and it's going to take so. Like, I just really hope that they can make that happen because it would simplify the process for people who truly are just one speed bump away from.
Yeah. But I'm saying, like, what's that next big idea? Like, so that's three things that now are going on your faded
recently.
Bronze statue.
I don't know. We haven't been trying to like change things lately. The small victories we've had recently, we managed to get on Splash Mountain the day that it was closing.
Is this the same one where you discovered large pieces of fecal matter floating?
Oh no, that's the local water park, not the same.
Bad.
Splash Mountain is at Disney World.
Oh, Splash Mountain's at Disney World.
Yes, and
I've
it was
never
the
been to
like
Disney World, so.
Kind of racist legacy ride that they had, and they decided to close it down and rebrand it as Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which is a decent change, but we're still sentimental about losing all the old Brer Rabbit influence things. So we went and managed to get on the ride a few hours before it closed for good, and got to sit on the front of the ride and everything. It was me and Katie. Everybody else was tired and went back to the room. But when they finally seated us on the ride, after the line was like supposed to be 4 hours long, it actually went a lot faster. But that was a very, very victorious feeling. And we didn't contribute anything significant to the world there, but feeling victorious was still important.
Yeah, and just to be able to say, hey, I went on one of the very last rides, I mean, at some point, it'll be the equivalent of like a black and white picture of like, back in my day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's very true.
You know what I mean?
Well, the next day, they were selling water from the ride on eBay.
Oh, my God.
Little vials. We didn't do that. I took a video as we like went over the plume, and people were standing around cheering. Sometimes it's nice to be part of the mass hysteria.
Yeah.
Like, it's fun.
It's healthy. Yeah.
We had a victorious moment. Katie went through a breakup recently. Okay. Right before the breakup.
Sweetest person ever, Katie. Gosh.
Yeah, for sure. Gentle. Very, very sweet person. Well, before the breakup, she and her fella, his mother had asked to take some pictures of them around downtown. I hope everybody would just be gracious. If they didn't want their story told, I'll just leave some names out. But anyhow, at one of the places where they were taking photos, they stumbled over a piece of jewelry on the ground, nothing valuable, but like a pendant.
Okay, yeah.
And it was dragon-shaped, and they found it in the dirt, so you pick it up, and I was like, holy cow, this is the invitation to a side quest. What did you do with it? And she's like, well, his mom said, oh, that's dirty, put that down. And so he did. And I was like, you found a dragon pendant, and then you dropped it back on the ground? This is not how
That's not how the adventure starts,
yes.
ever.
Yeah,
Have you watched Jumanji or anything?
Thank you. So after they broke up, she tells me the story, and I was like, oh, goodness. And I said, well, this is how you knew that this was not the right type of people for you, because our people would never release.
No.
I was like, do you want to go see if it's still there? And she's like, Mom, it was 2 months ago.
Okay.
There's not a chance that it's still in the middle of this downtown trafficked area. And I was like, do you want to go look? She's like, yes. Okay, so we stopped on an impulse and we kind of look around, and it's nighttime, but we're giggling and we look around and we don't see it. And I was like, you know what would really help is a metal detector. And she's like, it's not here. So many people have walked by. It's in a churchyard.
Okay.
And she's like, I'm sure somebody picked it up or saw it or in the landscaping or whatever, they've thrown it away. I was like, okay, well, just know that I have a metal detector and we can try it.
I love that you have a metal detector, by the way.
Thank you. It's waterproof.
Is it really?
Yes. I bought it when my friend...
You know there's a certain kind of person, typically, and it's usually a middle-aged, and I do mean odd, white man. That's your average owner.
Hello. My name is Hayley.
I break all the molds. Anyways. Just tossing that out there.
Well, I'll explain to you why I have it in just a second. So anyway, I put the metal detector in the car, and the next time, I don't know, a month later, we were leaving an archery shoot, and she was like, hey, do you want to go? And I was like, sure. So we hopped out of the car in the middle of the night in the dark.
You have a squirrel in your wheel well. Sorry.
Oh.
It's
like, is that a metaphor for something?
No. Sorry. For the listener, I just peered out the window and there was a squirrel climbing up around her wheel well.
Cute.
Anyways, yes.
It would not be the first time I've had small animals.
Rodents, yeah,
riding around in there. Rest in peace, orange tabby cat that wasn't even mine to begin with. But yeah, we pull out the metal detector and we just start I did not expect to find anything.
No,
a sheriff's car pulls by this downtown church in the middle. It's across the street from a courthouse. Like, it is not remote and it is dark, and we have no business to be metal detecting on the lawn at this time. But if you act like you're supposed to be there,
absolutely, one of the greatest things ever.
Yes.
My brother Zach claims, if I remember right, that he had a suit on and he acted like he knew, or he acted like he was supposed to be there, and he got into I want to say a 20 by 40 room with former President Bush. I think it was Daddy at the time, or whoever it was, and maybe whoever the president was at the time. I cannot remember, but I think an ex-president and maybe a current president walked past the Secret Service guys at the thing just because he was confident and was like, just had that look. And he knew that's what it was. Like, I'm going to act like I'm supposed to be there. Got into the room. It took them 7 to 8 minutes, and he got to meet, shake hands with, I don't remember if it was Bill Clinton, who the heck it was, but he got to, shake hands and talk to some very important people.
That's called white privilege.
Right, yes. But more importantly than white privilege is
acting like
you're supposed to be there.
That's right.
And I don't remember if they threw him out after 7 or 8 minutes or what happened, but I think they did eventually ask him to leave. But it took a hot minute for them to figure out he's not supposed to be in this very tiny room with the most powerful person in the United States. Crazy. Anyways,
I love that he tried. I love that he was willing to say,
he was hey, what do I have to lose? What are they going to tell me? No.
I mean, being tossed out by the Secret Service.
But he got to meet a couple of presidents or a president or something.
So
again, in our unresearched podcast, I'll have to ask him. But that was
awesome.
Yeah, amazing. Anyways, so you're now hunting for metal in a church in the middle of the night where you're not supposed to.
And totally found it.
No.
I mean, this is only the second time I think that I've ever even turned the thing on. The first time I turned it on, and then my husband points to a sign behind me that says no metal detecting here, so I immediately turned it off wah, wah. I don't know that I'd ever even tried, but yes, I see something.
Yeah.
Katie's like, we're not going to find it. We're not going to find it. And I was like, heck yeah, we are. And I pick it up and hand it to her, and we just start jumping and screaming, and it was such a victorious feeling. We've had a couple of those really, really high celebration moments this year.
Did you feel any portals opened up or sliding door moments happened after that? Did you unlock something? Was there a new level in a video game that you hit in your life?
Not yet.
Subsequent?
But that's not to say it didn't happen. It's just not obvious yet exactly what it was.
How long ago?
2 weeks, 3.
Oh, so this is recent. This is recent. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But, I mean, it's the Splash Mountain thing was only 2 weeks before that. We were on a victory run at the moment. Just small victorious moments that just happened to be happening. But that was a good one. She picked it up, and then the next day when she passed the former boyfriend in the hallway, she just handed it back to him, boom. Your mom, he was like, you went back and found it? She's like, yes, I did.
Wow.
Like,
Wait, she didn't leave it with him, though?
And that
I don't
moment,
like that
yeah,
version of the story.
Well, the memory that it was connected to, I think it was basically like, your mom made you throw it away. My mom took me back on a treasure hunt and found it. And
like who? Oh, that's like the classic "Who Mama Better," and apparently, you are the answer.
The metal detecting mother. Yes, the mother.
Hello, lovely friends. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. And it would mean the world if you would tell other people about this podcast and maybe even spam your social media accounts with just how much you're enjoying it. If you are, of course. Also, commenting and rating us on whatever platform you're downloading or streaming from is incredibly helpful to a little startup podcast like this one. On the other hand, if you are dissatisfied with your listening experience, please leave all of that hate on someone else's podcast. Just maybe to confuse them a little bit, right? But most of all, we hope you keep looking up and looking for the sunny side of life.